Tonight, seizing on hate. Top voices on the right exploiting the crisis in Afghanistan to stir up fear about Afghan refugees to the United States, even claiming it's simply an attempt to change the population of America for political gain. Tom Foreman is out front.
All day we've heard phrases like, we promised them. Well, who did? Did you?
The torrent of intolerance is running hot.
Bring in the refugees, they're screaming tonight.
On conservative media, the internet, and in incendiary statements, the far right is torching the idea that America owes anything to those who helped U.S. troops through 20 years of war and who may now face deadly reprisals in their own land.
Those who are advocating mass Afghan resettlement in this country are doing so for political, not humanitarian reasons.
Advocates for refugees are hitting back.
Stephen Miller never wore a uniform a day in his life. That guy doesn't represent America. He represents the worst of us.
But the Afghan uproar fits so neatly into former President Trump's anti-immigrant stance, it appears irresistible for some. Never mind that Trump contradicted himself on the issue, releasing this statement Monday. Can anyone even imagine taking out our military before evacuating civilians and others who have been good to our country and who should be allowed to seek refuge? Then on Wednesday, this plane should have been full of Americans. America first. Among the more virulent posts, this one by a former Trump advisor showing that same image with a caption: "Raise your hand if you want this plane landing in your town." Many big-name Republicans are actually raising their hands to help, welcoming Afghan immigrants to their states and creating a huge messaging rift in the party.
We owe it to these people who are our friends and who worked with us to get them out safely.
They helped our military members in their country, and now we stand ready to help them in ours. It is vitally important. It is our duty. We are eager. We will take them. There is no time to spare. It is the least we can do. Still, it is more than some can bear.
So first we invade and then we're invaded. It is always the same.
This is one of the nastier and more open rifts we have seen in this party in quite some time. And that parade of big-name Republicans at the end really underscores it there. This issue is not going away anytime soon. This could last for months, maybe even years. Refugee issues often do. So this fight could just keep burning out there. Okay?
Tom, thank you so much for that. Out front with us now, former Republican Congressman Charlie Dent. Today, for the first time, Charlie's revealing that an Afghan refugee lived with his family in Pennsylvania for a time. Sammy is her name, and she's still in the United States. Lives in Colorado, is an aspiring doctor. Congressman, it's good to see you. I want to talk about Sammy in just a minute, but first, you heard the rhetoric and the hate from some on the right in Tom Foreman's piece. What do you say to folks in your party, or those who say that they are in your party, talking like this?
Well, to those who made those ugly statements, that was an ugly form of nativism. It would be a shameful betrayal and completely and utterly dishonorable to turn our backs on these people who fought alongside our folks. And I think it's reprehensible. I think we should be listening to what Senator Romney and Lee and McConnell and Governor Hogan and the others who you just identified, who are saying the right things, that we have to take in our fair share and that we should not leave them behind. I've been to Afghanistan twice. I would thank many of those Afghan interpreters for their support, for their work to help our troops. They're vital. And I just can't imagine that people would say, we have Vietnamese, Korean, and Cuban refugees who came to our country. They're great American citizens, as we know, and they contribute so much to us. I would expect the same of the Afghans. So
let's talk about Sammy now. I mean, this is the first time you're talking about this. You have much more background, but in brief, she was a friend of your daughter's at school. You found out from her mother that they had fled Afghanistan with her siblings after her father was executed in front of them. And because of life circumstances, Sammy needed a place to stay to finish school, and you and your wife welcomed her so she could finish her senior year of high school. And now she's thriving. So this hateful rhetoric we're just talking about, it hits especially close to home for you.
Yeah, and to hear these people say this is all being done for political reasons, it's really deeply offensive. This is strictly, entirely humanitarian. You know, when young Sammy Sisi lived with my family, I would tell my children, we never have anything to complain about. She lost her father, executed in front of the Taliban. They come to America. The mother gets in a car accident, becomes a quadriplegic, and these kids are just trying to live hand to mouth and take care of their mother, go to school, just scratch out a living. And we just felt it was our duty to help. And we never say anything about it publicly. I didn't want anybody to think it was a political thing. We're just doing it because it was just our little contribution to help a family in need. And I just, I just can't tell you how proud I am of her and her family for what they've been able to accomplish here, under the most difficult of circumstances, both in Afghanistan and in America.
And she actually told us that her mom would dress her as a boy as a kid so she could learn. And then that and here's a quote from her, you were an amazing father figure in my life. Just the most wonderful family I've ever known. A very powerful story. How does it feel for you to hear that?
Yeah, she's a sweet kid. I mean, look, she gave us far more than anything we ever gave her. She brought a lot of joy to us, and she was just really a great American kid. So I mean, I just feel like we just did our little bit to help her, and she gave us a lot more than we could ever give her. And I would just tell anybody, if you're concerned about these refugees, go meet some, talk to some, especially the communities of faith. My church has been very active with Burmese, Myanmar refugees. That's what this is about. Go meet them, help them. They need it. I mean, we're so blessed in this country. We don't know how good we have it, and these people come from such desperate circumstances. Don't make this a political issue. Just do your part. Just help.
Thanks for sharing, Charlie.